I think the name, image, and likeness concept in college sports is a joke the way it's presented. I think it's a pretty fraudulent way to present it overall. In case you don't know what that really means, and I don't think most people do, the idea of, you see this term now, NIL. You're probably going to hear it a lot. No, I don't know if you can hear it a lot tonight because of the draft, but you hear it a lot kicked around during the college football season. It's called name, image, and likeness, and it came out of a legal case, an interesting legal case involving a college basketball player who sued because he felt his image and his number, I think he played at UCLA, was being used in video games. He thought that was unfair, and he sued, and it made its way through the court system. And ultimately, out of that came the right to own your likeness in legal terms. Out of that came just like what usually happens in college sports, because it has no guidance whatsoever. It's out of control. There's no real guardrails. So out of that came the idea, well, you can make some money. Out of that came what I call slush funds. So the idea was, well, these athletes should be able to endorse products. They should be able to sell products. They should be able to profit from you selling their jersey. What it's turned into is not that at all. And if you don't mind, let me go all feminist on you for just a second. What name, image, and likeness has done for female athletes, largely for female athletes, I'm not saying everybody, but largely what it has done, it has sexualized female athletes. How's that for some old crabby guy's comment? It has. The way to make money is dance on TikTok in your underwear. So I'm not saying don't do it, just saying that's what this thing is turned into. It's presented as what a righteous capitalist way to go about things, because if we sell your jerseys, you should be able to make money at it. That I agree with. As a militant free enterprise person, I agree you should have the right to dance in your underwear or not in your underwear. I agree with all that. But the way it was sold, the way the concept was created is that, well, these athletes are going to sell some shirts now. That's not really true. Selling products and services is not what they're doing, for the most part. The few that are female athletes, and they are influencers. The male athletes in football and basketball are just given some money because they're stars. So what it's done is, for football and basketball players, it's created what I would call slush funds. Slush funds are, we're going to pool some money together. We're going to get some rich people together. We're going to go find some people, for whatever weird reason, want to put some money into a pot and give it to a star athlete. Now, it's perfectly legal. I'm just saying they're not endorsing products. They're not. This is not the ad business. This is the slush fund business. So that's what, in my opinion, you can disagree. That's what it's turned into. Is it ruining college sports? Not yet. No, not yet. It hasn't, that I can tell. That, of course, is assuming that it's really not about college at all, which is the assumption, which is the way this operates. No one is about the school. No one is about the college itself. No one is about even caring about the college. They're treated as professional sports franchises who are funded by colleges. So that's my brutal takeaway on name, image, and likeness. If you are bothered by, I said that it sexualizes female athletes, then let's go, because that's where the money is. That's what the carrot has been, unfortunately, for female athletes. All right, so it comes out of this giant legal fight. Do I think that college athletes, I know what people are going to say, well, this age-old argument, the standard talk show argument, Jeff, is, do you think college athletes should be paid? No, actually, I don't. I say no, but here's an idea, and I've had the same idea, the same feelings. And, look, I was a part of it when this was talked about years ago. And no, I don't think you should get paid, because what comes with getting paid as well, there's going to be some tax returns. There's going to be, are you an employee or not an employee? There's workman's comp issues. I don't think anybody really knows what they're getting into. And unfortunately, I don't think they care. Do I think college athletes should be paid this way? Yes. I've pitched it for years. It's never going to happen. But I'll throw it out there anyway. The way it should work is all scholarship athletes share the media rights. Those funds go into a trust, and here's where no one is going to agree. And upon graduation and or the end of 6 years, you get a share of those proceeds. You're basically operating on a revenue share model. But, I mean, the revenue share model is perfectly reasonable to me. The conferences negotiate media rights and media platforms. Then that money should be, percentage-wise, should go to athletes. And upon graduation, you get the money. That's the way I think it should work, in my opinion. It's not going to. It's already a dumpster fire. There is no reining it back in. It's just find the most money from the most jock sniffers you can who are going to give XYZ superstar some cash, and that's just the way it's going to be. So, has NIL killed the college game? No, not yet. If you just care about the college game as a sport, not really. But in a world of greedy stories, and everybody in the college game is pretty greedy. There's an interesting story about Arch Manning. I think the football part of Arch Manning is interesting. I don't get caught up in recruits and stuff like that. I can't do it. I find that just weird, and the hit ratio is pretty small. But Arch Manning is easily the biggest, the most high-profile high school recruit. I'm not going to say in the entire country, but maybe in the entire country, certainly to go to the University of Texas in decades and decades. I play with some great guys who were giant stars coming out of high school. I don't know anybody. He comes from the most high-profile football family of all time. I mean, it's not even debatable. No one's even close. I can't think of another family, really, to be honest, with that legendary success stories. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So he's the most high-profile, biggest name high school recruit to come to the University of Texas probably forever, but maybe somebody in the 40s or something. So there's a few interesting parts about this, and I have to give that family some props, and I have to give him some props. I do. Usually the third-string quarterback on a college roster isn't a big deal. But of course, when you come from the most high-profile football family of all time, you're naturally going to be a big deal. He was supposed to be a great player coming out of high school. He may end up being a great player. I don't know. Right now, he's their third best guy, and he's not even close to number 2. So, you got to appreciate this story about he and his family, though, because the money's easy. The money is very easy when you're a star. Money is easy at Texas. You can't even begin to appreciate what a pampered life it is as a football player at Texas. I lived it, okay? And it's even more pampered now, but it just doesn't get any easier and better. I said easier, absolutely. Yeah, there's competition. Yeah, but when you're the best of the best, and you're going to a college program, they all spend ridiculous amounts of money. There are very few places where money is no object. None. Nothing is off the table. And I'm not kidding. So it's easy to get caught up in it. Look, it's easy when you're a high school recruit to be told how great you are all the time. Everyone in your life, your teenage years, tells you how great you are. You're a mess. By the time you get to college, you think you're going to be a Pro Bowler. You're not, but you think that. I try to tell high school players, everyone is lying to you. Just assume they're all lying. None of it's going to work out the way they're telling you. Just assume that, but that's not the way they're told. Imagine if you're a Manning and you've been lighting up prep school leagues for a few years. I mean, you could have anything you want. So I say that to give he and his family credit. It's an interesting story. So it's reported this way, right? I mean, you're the most famous family. You're the most famous recruit in a world where slush funds, where money is no object, and reportedly he's not going to touch any of it. Now, I know you're going to say, I know what people are going to say. Well, gosh, Jeff, his family's rich anyway. I get it, but still, there's something admirable to this that the kid and his family have said, you're not taking any money until you start. I got to like it. Arch Manning could. This is Yahoo News. No, this is USA Today. Arch Manning could likely make millions by monetizing his name, image, and likeness. Well, you've already heard me tell you it doesn't work that way. They just give you the money. Okay, he's not selling any products. No one hires a freshman in college to pitch products. You don't. I mean, that would be a terrible idea. Instead, the incoming freshman quarterback has decided not to sign any NIL deals until he starts playing on a regular basis at Texas. Coach Steve Sarkisian said at the Houston Touchdown Club, he's taken zero money from an NIL perspective. Good for you. The Longhorns coach dismissed the notion that Manning, the top-rated prospect in the 2023 recruiting class, had a lucrative NIL deal in place when he enrolled at Texas early this spring. In reality, Sarkisian said, Manning doesn't have any endorsement deals, nor do any of them, unless you're dancing in your underwear, have any endorsement deals, nor does he plan to pursue any until his place on the team is secure. Sarkisian said, quote, his grandpa, former NFL quarterback Archie Manning, won't let him take any money. He said, you can take money when you become a player and you start. I like it. I like it. Words to live by, right? I mean, now, that's easy to say. I get it. Look, trust me, I played with guys. They are dirt poor, come from nothing. So some money, it'd be impossible. It'd almost feel terrible to tell somebody, don't take the money. But in this case, I think it's pretty cool to say, hey, you haven't earned anything, man. Shut up and play. Shut up and play is a really good fundamental rule to live by. And I got to give this kid and his family some credit. And another thing about him, I don't know him, don't care, but I got to say this. He is a distant third on the depth chart. And there's a whole other discussion about what happens to number 2. Does number 2 leave? Because usually when you're not starting and you think you should start, particularly if you're a quarterback in college now, you just leave. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how numbers 2 and 3, him being 3, how this plays out if you're not playing. Because these guys, they live in a world now where I expect to play and I expect to play right away. And if I'm not playing right away, I'll just go somewhere else. Then I'll go somewhere else and somewhere else and somewhere else. The guy who played Hudson Card, who played quarterback for Texas last year, who I thought was the better player of the two, he did just that. He figured out, I'm not going to play, I'll leave. So, that's hanging over his head. But I do have to give him credit because for the most part, he seems to lay low. His family has said, you're not touching the money. You don't deserve it. He does seem to keep his head down. He hasn't earned anything yet. He's the third guy, doesn't complain about it. You don't hear very many interviews with him. For the most part, I mean, this is true of the Mannings in general. Even though I know that his uncles now are kind of everywhere. They're almost overexposed just because they're kind of funny. But it's pretty admirable to step in where you could have anything you wanted and say, you're not touching it until you actually make a difference. You'll actually play and actually really do matter. When you're third, you don't matter that much. Get the clipboard and shut up. That seems to be the perspective they've taken. It's refreshing, right? Every time you want to say, well, everyone's greedy, everyone's chasing the limelight. Usually that's true. In this kid's case, with this particular setup, at a place where money is no object, they've told him to put the hat on, stay in your lane.